All right, it's 4 a.m. and I'm walking up into the desert in the pitch dark. I'm in the desert. I'm getting up early because I am going to help a friend this morning, so I wouldn't be able to do my normal hike. These are the signs you see around these parts. So, this is the scene without the light. And this is what I can see on the trail. And this is interesting, the paradox of life. This is a hard video for me to make. And I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth. I am a victim. I have been a victim. And when I started my journey, spirituality, psychology, philosophy, all that stuff, one of the mantras that I always held was that I couldn't be a victim. I cannot be a victim. I cannot be a victim. And I held that for a long time. And it took actually realizing that I had been ingrained in a family that had been gossiping behind my back. And I knew a little bit of it, but it took me getting very mad and to realize and to push back enough to where I recognized how deeply the gossip had gotten. And realize that, whatever we think is our God, eventually it's going to kick us back and it's going to kick back against us. So not being a victim was my God. And then I had to come to realizing I was being abused behind my back. And I took getting upset to get the whole dynamic out of the dark and into the light. So, yeah, this is a kind of a fun way to share my world with you. Hope you guys have a great day. All right, so this is the desert. I've left the place that I live. I'm up early because I am helping a friend this morning, so I wanted to get a hike in before that happens at 6 a.m. So now it is 4 a.m. and I am in the desert. And I have no idea what I'm going to come upon. This is something that I would not have done before. And just chipping away at life and pushing through things. I now will walk out into the desert. I could run into a rattlesnake. I could run into coyotes. A whole plethora of things could pop out of the dark. Life is about pushing against our bubble just a little bit. I've got something to share with you guys pretty soon that's out of my comfort zone. And I'll be sharing that soon. And yeah, this is usually well lit as I walk up this trail. And I'm usually the one that walks out in front because I'm the one that can spot snakes. And I've had a lot of experience growing up in Arizona with big rattlesnakes. I haven't seen one of the size of rattlesnakes that 5.5 foot, 6 foot rattlesnakes that we used to find all the time. My dad lived in the middle of the desert. And yeah, I remember one weekend, I think my dad would kill them and then give them to a guy who made belt buckles and stuff, so he would trade. And one weekend we got 5 of them, with like 2 of them that were very dangerous situations where we could have, at least one of us could have perished had things not worked out the way they should. The times when I'm in the middle of the desert, and let's just go this way. That's what the trail will look like if my headlamp goes out. So I'm really hoping that modern technology holds on. I'm walking up what we call the gauntlet, and basically in front of me is a mountain, Daisy Mountain, that I've hiked a few times. And this just, we call it the gauntlet because it just slowly keeps building in elevation. And this is something that I've always been wanting. I always wanted to be around company. If something went wrong, I wanted to have somebody with me. And so over the years, I have chipped away at needing company in my adventures. And now, weirdly, I woke up this morning needing to go for a hike a little earlier because I've got to, I'm helping out a friend this morning, and it is at hiking. So got up about 2 and had some coffee, and now I'm getting my exercise in before the day begins. Got a nice breeze here in the desert, and yeah, usually this is very lit up as I'm coming up here, and very hot. There's some Ocotillo. Look at how beautiful it looks at night. The light shining on it. That is very big. Yeah. They used to do mining on this mountain. I looked into it. Gold and silver. And there was something else. I think we found some turquoise. Oh, there's also javelina out here, and they can be troublesome. I bet I actually had a run-in with a javelina when I was younger. There was a bunch of them, and I chased them. And the big guy in the back finally turned around and stomped its hoof at me. I picked up a rock, and that's when I knew that I'm just going to let this guy win. So maybe I'll just keep you on this little track, and let you see the light as it comes up. But right now, I am walking into the desert. So one of the things that I notice, and I'm coming to peace with seeing myself as a victim. You know, having my family been gossiping behind my back, and I kind of knew about it, and just always thought, oh, they'll just figure it out. They'll figure it out. And then it took a lot of actually being the victim and allowing myself to be angry at assholes, and that surfaced the actual amount of gossip and how they had created this little world. Even got to my cousin that I don't even speak to, and they let me know how I am on social media, and I was fine telling them, whoa, shit, here we go, there's the first, I just got goosebumps. It was just a dove coming out, but the hairs on my legs right now are standing up, as you can see it, because any kind of movement now is pretty freaky. Anyway, yeah, this is one thing that I didn't want to say, and that, you know, there's just so many people in this world right now that have perfected the victimization role. They've created these stories, and victimization is a very difficult thing to get out of. You know, when your mind scours problems and then makes everybody else at fault, it's really hard to find light. You know, I can't you can't speak to anybody that's really holding on to a victimization paradigm. It's the God. And it's interesting because I'm finding out the paradox of that, which is it's okay to recognize yourself as a victim of behavior of other people. And it took me a long time to realize that. And that's because I made a mantra that I can't be a victim, I can't be a victim, I can't be a victim, I can't be a victim. But you have to realize, you have to come to realize that nothing is there's always a paradox. There's always some twist in the story. And I found my twist. And so, woohoo, there goes another one. Another bird just out of the blue. So they must be bedded down. All right, maybe I'll keep this rolling. This is like part 3. So, yes. So it's a balance of everything. So once you figure out what life is, that there is no conclusion, that curiosity is the path, and holding that I couldn't be a victim for almost 2 decades now. I realized how much I put up with behavior that was just freaking ridiculous. And, I have a lot of egg on my face from that. And, boy, this is a trip walking in the dark. I love this headlight I got. I love the sounds of the desert. But anytime, obviously, a couple of things have already jumped out of the woodwork here. And, hear the crickets going. Yeah, again, it all comes back down to it's very simple, authentic love. I don't even like authentic love. It's genuine love. Like me going to help my friend today. This person has shown in so many ways how much they care for me. Right off the bat. My family was pulling away from me. I felt like I didn't have any support at all. My partner left, and all of a sudden, this guy, I got a Jeep, and I'm like, if I get stuck somewhere, like I don't have anybody to call. And this person came up to my Jeep. I had just met him. I had known him for about 2 weeks. And he came over to my Jeep and he said, "Hey, will you give me your number?" I was like, okay. And he goes, "That way, if anything happens to you," because I was actually going out on a Jeep expedition. He knew it. And he said, "If anything ever happens to you, you can call me and I can come help you out." And I almost broke down in tears right there. I was like, that was, signs that the universe I was being supported. And now I've grown to try to help him out whenever I can. And I'm not too excited about the work we're doing today. It's going to be hot. And, but it doesn't matter because he's definitely served. In fact, he just served giving me a ride for 2 hours yesterday to help my life out. So I will serve today with enthusiasm. It's still walking out here. Let's take a look behind us. Let's turn off the lights. This is what it looks like. I'm starting to get up out of where the lights are, and the sun isn't even starting to come out. And I'm on a trail right now that I've been on a ton of times, but not in pitch dark. But I love seeing the silhouettes. I don't know if you can see. Look at the silhouettes of the saguaro cactuses and the alcatillo right in front of me. It's so beautiful. It's just another way to look at all of this. And I'm basically heading up today. I'm heading towards Daisy Mountain, where there's a quarry where they've obviously fractured rocks in a quartz path, quartz vein looking for material. Silver and gold is what they used to look for here, but there wasn't enough to make it worthwhile. Yeah, it's so interesting to walk this in this dark, because normally I have a really good sense of, how much further I've got to go, and now I don't. I can't see. I can see the silhouette of the mountain in front of me. I don't know if, you might be able to see it just a little bit, but I don't really know where I'm going or how far I've got. But the one thing about the gauntlet, and I call it the gauntlet because it just keeps getting steeper and steeper. It's like this slow elevation game where me and my bike partner will be walking, and we'll be having to talk, and all of a sudden we realize that we're both out of breath. And it's like, because it just keeps getting steeper and steeper as you go. So it's like, it's great. Oh, there's another dove. I'm starting to get used to them now, so they must bed down. Imagine what it's like for the wildlife, these dove that are bedding down in the brush, and with the snakes and all the things that want to eat them. It's pretty crazy. This is so cool. The wind is really nice. It's humid. The monsoons are coming into the area. Got a nice breeze right now, and you can hear my breath starting to get deeper. And these are the shoes I've been starting to wear out. I just heard the first coyote way back in the distance, and that's interesting because during the wintertime the coyotes were rampant. It's probably the most active I've ever heard. Staying at the place I'm staying at, every night the coyotes would be inside the ranch and right around it, and you would just hear them, a kind of cacophony of coyotes. Say that 3 times fast. Yeah, now I kind of know where I'm at. This kind of turns into it looks like oh shit. There goes my hairs on my legs again. Something scampered off in the distance. Yeah, this is beautiful. So you can just start to see the sun hitting these clouds in the camera. Actually, it's lighter in the camera than it is in actual person. So I'm looking at it at the same time I'm filming, and it's way lighter on my camera. When I make it to the top of the gauntlet, that's the interesting thing, because I didn't know how long I was going to go. Right now it's about 4:17 in the morning. Okay, so here's where we start losing the trail if I'm not careful. Yeah, this is very interesting. Yeah, just me and a camera. And it's funny if something were to happen to me. Nobody might even see these videos. Just a little blip of a story on the news maybe about a hiker who went out before light. Oh yeah, there's deer and mountain lion out here as well too. I forgot about those guys. It just amped up my reticular activating system, which is the thing that we all have, and just realized again that there's the chance of a run-in with it could be a bobcat too, or a mountain lion, the zeikes. I don't know how many parts this is going to be. This is fun. So I started this by talking about being able to be okay with being a victim. But it's not a means of holding a victim mindset, but also holding people's behavior and keeping them accountable. There was even a rush for me to be like, I could forgive them so quickly if they could just see. And I realize how freaking ingrained they are, that they believe that life that is about organizing other people's lives, and that's what they were doing. Because I can realize what their gods were. My sister's god is money and image. So she's got the $1 million house, over $1 million house in Breckenridge. And my brother's is, his is just, I think he just moves to whatever he's doing. And then he's the one that's doing it right. And my cousin, he's like, he's all I know. I don't even know all that much about him, but I know that what he does, he works really hard. He spends most of his day getting overtime, chasing money. And then, I kind of know that money's a big deal for his side of the family. And then, I think he takes it out in his politics, gives him a good excuse to, make everybody else a victim because he works so hard. But yet, I don't think everything in his life goes the way that he wants it to. Yeah. So, and then it also allowed me to understand the dynamic that I was part of, realizing that I was part of it. And part of that was not being a victim, was always being the bigger person, and realizing that was a manipulative function. And so I can it's like you have to hold all these truths at the same time. And that's kind of what life is about. Okay, so I am getting up to I can tell that I'm getting close because it's really getting steep now. And, the last thing I can talk about is neurodivergence. I kind of dipped into that when I realized that my mind, autism, ADHD, it was interesting because I was probably maybe a month looking into it and was like, oh my God, I'm probably autistic. Had ADHD. But I knew not to make it into an identity, which I see a lot of people, because I think neurodivergence is simply something that people have different minds, but because the way the world is organized, our minds are, it's literally called a disorder. And so people in the neurospicy community, they're always talking about their coping mechanisms, how they, take the drugs and deal with neurotypical people. And, but once I found, that I didn't need my identity to prove who I was, my neurodivergent mind has focused really well, and it is not the problem. It's the world that thinks it's a disorder. It's literally called a disorder. It's so funny that, what my mind actually allows me to do is to see in many different layers. So when you guys comment, and you bring something to my attention, my mind can pick out like 10 different ways I can take your exploration of juxtaposition, something outside of what I'm saying. Some are very obvious comments, but a lot of times people will give me something, give my neurodivergent mind something to look at. And that's what I recognize. That's my pattern recognition. Okay, there's shit running across the trail now. Still dark, but I can see the clouds are getting lighter. And so I still can't see in the darkness. But I'm damn close to the end. So I'm going to take you with me. I'm going to have a lot of video editing to do. So maybe that's going to be my day-to-day. How I'm going to serve. So how I figured out this neurotypical mind, I did a rant a while back when I was kind of going through everything, and it was wild. I took on every emotion and saw the situation. I ranted about it, and then realized it was just like, people can't really follow the rant because there was anger and rage and joy and hope. There was all kinds of things that were just intermixed. And then I sat down, or I was in bed, and all of a sudden I woke up and I had this idea. And I'm going to explore that with you. So where do we usually stop now? And so anyway, what I came up with was that I could make a game. I could get people, if they wanted to explore, to find out what the rant felt like. I could make levels to get you there, to explore words. And I could see the levels. I knew exactly what I wanted. And then I recognized that I had AI at my disposal. And I probably spent 5 hours with AI. And I used probably 20 different layers in order to get to where I knew I wanted it. And if you go on, I have the game on Substack. And it's so hard. Like at first I was like, oh man, anybody that does this is going to really wake them up and really help them. And then later I was like, this shit is deep. Like this shit is like the person, you have to, if you're a reader, like you have to take the ride all the way through to as you read, allowing all the feelings to come through. Explore the author from the point of view of taking a journey. And I realized that like this is my masterpiece, and if one person does the game and there's different levels, they've all been choreographed to like 20 different layers of languaging. And if you actually take the time and you play the game, somebody would know me at the end. They would know my rant, they would know my heart. But then I realized, okay, if I have one person that takes on the challenge and they're like, I get you, and you're in tears of joy, sadness, grief by the time you get to my rant, like this, that's my masterpiece. Like I was like, that is amazing. So it just sits there. And I don't think it gets much traffic anymore because everything just goes. The next day I've got to be posting a bunch more because my stuff in the past is just in the past. Okay, so I cannot see anything on the trail. Nothing. I'm at the top of I haven't even looked around because I was filming. So here's what it looks like. So this is where we usually end. But I'm going to take you up a little further. Is this me? Oh, that was me, tell you. So that's, see, I can't even tell. This is what it looks like to me. This is how dark it is. Can't even see. That's the trail in front of me. So here we go. I'm going to take you up to the top. There's so many beautiful rocks up here. Okay, last little bit. Walking up to the next part. So there's a gorge over here. And this is where they were fracturing rocks. And I'll show you the rocks here in a sec. So here's some of the fractured rock. You can see it turns white. And it's scattered all over the place. It's all over the side over here. These kind of rocks are not here. So this is the end. If you look down into this gorge or whatever, this looks like where they were excavating. And let me show you some of the rocks. Beautiful. And it's real shiny during the day. So here, getting water. I'm a little dehydrated. God, this guy is amazing. Check the... Let me put my hand, I gotta put my water away. Okay, so it's about 4:30, and this is the scene. There's the mountain. It's starting. The mountain's behind me. That's the top, the silhouette. So the sun's starting to come up. I still need the light to be able to see where my feet are going. I'm heading back down. I've got a lot of editing to do. I filmed a lot. Maybe I'll make one video at the end with no edits. You can just watch the whole thing together. Oh my goodness, yes. So I typically would not have done this kind of thing back in my past. I would not have taken this on by myself. But I'm kind of at a place where I'm realizing, I have support now. I'm starting to find people that have hearts and are looking for genuine love. And nobody's perfect. It's not like they're on the same exact ride that I'm on. But they definitely have shown how much they care about me and support me. And and they're not my regular family, and I've known them for not that long. But we've actually had, uncomfortable times between us, difficult conversations to have, and they wanted to get through it. I mean, they've called me out and said, "Hey, I got something I need to talk to you about." We sat down, we worked it out. Not everything was cleared up, but it was enough to be like, yeah, this person cares about me. They share food with me, they share water with me, they help me with things in my life that they're good at. And that's all it is. It's like we're moving back to service, and that's what I've been doing too. So if you feel like lost, it isn't like I've been on this journey for a long time. I'm discovering this myself and realizing that I had been, around a bunch of really unsupportive people that only they were playing the give and take thing. And yeah, they would be supportive on their conditions. And I would rather, my sister's a medical professional. I'd rather die than get her help with anything. Something interesting about these are called Earth Runners. It's a certain brand. They're supposed to have, they've got a copper piece on the bottom. They're supposed to have copper going through the laces, so you're supposed to get the grounding, but yet I can walk, and it's taken a long time to get used to them. And typically I would not use them for something this difficult, but I've been practicing and using them more and more, and now it's like these are my chosen hiking shoes over the last month or so. What I like about it is it just makes me be really careful. The only times that they don't work real well is like if it's really sandy, then the sand gets up inside the middle of the shoe, and that really hurts. But this kind of terrain is like perfect for that. Yeah, this is very interesting. I might not even be able to do all these, but just make one long video on YouTube and send people there. Maybe just do the first and then send people, because this is going to be a long one. This could be like 20 minutes long. But this is a fun thing. Now you can see, put the lights off, it just keeps getting a little lighter. And by the time I get you down to the bottom, I'll have explored a lot of things that I'm not even cognizant. That's a really funny thing that oftentimes I see comments on my videos, and I have to go back and watch my videos because I'm like, what the hell did I say? It's like I'm curating these things. These are the things that just pop out, and sometimes I have lots of ideas that I don't even explore on videos because that's just something that didn't develop enough. But I'm trying to share as much as I can, and I hope like people are inspired, because I think that's one of the great things we have at our one of the things I had to do was, when I wanted to do public speaking, I was absolutely freaking terrified of it. And, it took me a long time, over a lot of years. And it's like we have this social media thing now, and people are scared to speak their truth. And it's like, that's the thing is, I speak my truth. I speak what I think is true in the moment. And you know what? Sometimes somebody will bring up a comment and say, well, you said this. And it's like, it's okay. Yeah, that was back then. I've come to refine and distill that truth. That's exactly what truth is. And that's the interesting thing. What is my truth? My truth is ever distilling. It's ever getting better. And so if you watch my videos from way back, I was saying a lot of different things. I was curating. I was much more performative. I was not willing, like I always wanted to say the perfect thing so I could put people on the perfect path. And it's like you realize that everybody's in a different trajectory. And I finally found that there are trajectories. That there is, I can easily now see how we can, wherever you are, we can reconnoiter. I love that word, and I hope people start using it. Just find one big word and hold on to it, and it's like reframing. It's like wherever you are, you may be, I had to finally be a victim, allow myself to be a victim, but you might be in complete victim mode. And oh gosh, I'm thinking of a person that I had in my life that I really wanted to enjoy and possibly even date. But man, they were so in survival mode that they had such a victim mentality that, no matter what I explored, it was like they couldn't get out of that story whatsoever. They had backed themselves so far into the victimization role that it was like no matter what obstacles. It's like, so you just got to figure out where you're at. Be honest where you're at. If you connect with me, I have a tool for that. Figuring out where you're at. Because I don't know where you're at. I don't know how to get you out of whatever it is. But we all have everything that isn't us is a coping mechanism. So everybody's got to figure out what their coping mechanism is to reconnoiter, to reframe their life. And then it's not like everything has to happen over time. It's like baby steps. In fact, baby steps is even better because you can get lost if you push too hard, or you feel like, oh man, I've got so much to do that it's like the only thing I got to do is like blow everything up. And it's like, you don't have to do that. You really don't have to do that. It might come to the point where you're just like, oh, I see enough light. And it's like, oh, I've been going way down this road for way too long. It's like, that's exactly what happened to me. If you were watching 2 or 3 weeks ago, my videos where I was going through the stuff with my family and unearthing and allowing myself to be angry, to allow myself to be, see that I was a victim. There was a lot of reshuffling really quick, and it took a lot of calling out asshole behavior on the part of other people, so that might be part of the process. We're all somewhere different, but if you're just doing the same thing every day and you don't reconnoiter, if you're not looking, this world is set up to swallow you whole. It will swallow you up. And it's exactly what AI is doing. It's not social media, it's interest media. And this is what I like about it, is because I really feel like I'm being social media now. Because I am, I'm sharing you with my life, and I'm sharing with you all the different emotions that I'm coming from. Sometimes I'm really happy, sometimes I'm angry, sometimes I'm sad, sometimes, and it's like, that to me is social media. That's showing us, that's what it is be a feeling human being, just going back to returning to our ontology. And that's simply it. So many people, my God, I get on threads and people are just fucking sick and tired of performative love, but they don't even know what it is. They just keep pre-digesting what they think the next thing is to go date, thinking that they can pre-digest everything, and then they have a pre-digested idea of, the people they meet. And it's like, that's the thing that, if you just stay in that mindset, and if you don't have wiggle room, and if you're not looking for juxtaposition, you're not looking for a different way to see things. It's the same thing here. If you hear something, like you like my stuff, and then all of a sudden you hear one thing that I say that you're like, oh, I don't believe that, and you're out. It's like, you didn't give me any grace. you didn't give me an opportunity to, because maybe there's something that you're not seeing. Like one of the big things was, there's a kill AI. And it's like, yeah, I used to be on the kill AI thing. But when you realize that you can use, AI, because I found so much on AI about how do we fix this stuff. And it just kept telling me, you have to go back to authentic love. You got to go back to being yourselves. You got to stop. You got to get out of the survival personalities that is the matrix, as people say. And that's so important. So you can see look at the glow of those Cholla cactus. Isn't that amazing? It's so much different. Now it's starting to get light. Let's see what it looks like without. Still dark, but now I can start seeing more images. Like the mountain now is really starting to be pronounced. This is so fucking cool. So, it's like giving grace. People are, and don't use AI if you don't want to use AI. If you don't like AI music, don't use AI music. But I found that making AI music for myself, I don't care if other people don't enjoy my music. It's like, I made a song for my mom that I just absolutely love because it reflects the dynamic of the mother archetype, not necessarily, the trajectory that my mother's taken in her life or other people that don't have perfect mothers. But when you realize that everybody has been a part of the survival personalities and the ego, you realize they did the best that they could getting along inside of it. And it's like the thing that we want to look for and we want to feel into is the archetype. Like, what do they bring into the world? And I made these incredible lyrics, and then I was able to compose in 3 minutes songs that reflect this feeling to me. So I can crank this thing up in my Jeep and just be like, this is amazing. So, yeah. It's like so there's this guy on YouTube, and I've posted some of his stuff, and he figured this out. It was around the time when I figured out that AI was going in the wrong direction, and I saw it in the fragmented mind, that's exactly what's going on, is everybody is trying to hold on to meaning, and so they're going off into interests, and the algorithm is just having them stay in survival mode. And I was just like, everybody get out of AI, get out of it. And this guy came on, and he's so technical, and he's like, you don't understand, like, what holds weight. And the survival personalities don't hold weight. Like, there's stories. People are stuck to stories, and they keep saying the same stories over and over again. And it's all performative love. My religion's the thing. My politics is the thing. If I go to therapy, then therapy talk is the thing. Psychology, whatever I'm doing in psychology is the thing. And it's our minds are being fragmented into these interests rather than simply coming back to our ontology, which simply means being. Like the humanness of it, the feeling, like being honest with how you feel. And that's what I've been trying to share on these videos, is like, this is how I feel in every moment. You guys have been able to see, and people have shared with me how much they can feel. And then the feedback I get, it's all over the place. Sometimes it's like, I love you, uncle. Like, I feel like you're a breath of fresh air. And then I've got all these other people that come in, and they like something about me. The tenderness, that's the thing. I have a very intimate relationship now with my feminine. And so I've been getting a lot of homosexual males that have they announced me as a DILF, which took me a long time to realize what that was, because I was like, I'm not going out and looking for things anymore. I'm going to let it come to me. And it finally came to me. I was like, oh, that's something to do with MILF. And I'm like, and I'm trying to express to a lot of these people, like, that's not my thing. And it's like, I will be a huge disappointment to you if you were ever to be intimate with me. And it's so hilarious because they just continue to, like, even if I tell them that, they will continue to be like, you have no idea, you have no idea. And I'm like, I have some idea. I've been on this earth for 55 years and never felt attracted to a man in a sexual way. And in fact, that's one of the funny things about me is I was raised in a conservative family who felt that homosexuality was a sin. And so I took on that belief, like, yeah, they can't be married, they can't get all this social recognition. But never in myself, like I was never questioned my sexuality. Like, I'm attracted to women, and no matter what I've done, it's like women are the thing. And in fact, that was the thing that I recognized was like, if a man feels an attraction for another man, there has to be something else going on. And, it took me a while to actually wake up and go, hey, I can't just because I believe something, make something else wrong. So I had to evolve to the point of allowing people to be whatever the hell's going on in their world and not to judge it. And that's another thing, I've been, I wouldn't say homophobic in the way that people obviously say it's because you're secretly you secretly want to have sex with men. And that's never been the case for me. It was more of a rigid belief that I was given and handed to me that said it's wrong. And it's like, I don't see that as anything. But also, there's people that then make it their, it's like they make it their identity. And I think that the identity is the problem. I think that's one of the greatest things about this transsexual thing that's going on. I just enjoyed sitting back and observing it instead of needing to be right on one side or the other, but just to watch that it was a wonderful discourse where it's like there's this discomfort and there's so many truths and so many lives. I mean, I've heard stories of people transitioning, and it's one of the happiest things they've ever done. And I've had people come on here and comment or connect with me and say that they got caught up in the culture of trans and they almost transitioned themselves and then woke up and said, no, that's not for me. That isn't me. And so let me stop talking for a second. Let's take a look I could almost walk the trail now. You can start seeing the trail. And look at the mountains. We've got cloud cover today. Yeah, I just let it roll. I cannot possibly make a bunch of reels out of this. So yeah, I'll keep talking to you. So what do I do next? It's like I know my mission. I know my purpose. I know that I know it's ontology. I know it's getting out of performative love and genuine love. And I'm in the process. I'm right in the midst of just reframing all my life, all the relationships in my life, holding grudges with people. That's the thing that I was always getting rid of, is I don't have to do this. And it's like, you know what? I'm just not allowing people to come back into my life without reconciliation and understanding that their behavior is atrocious. And so what do I do next? And it's such a funny thing because I'm like, hey guys, this is my purpose. You have my phone number. I used to get paid $500 an hour to do consulting and, psychotherapy and all the different things, speaking, all of these things that I used to do. And now I'm like, hey guys, just reach out to me. And then, people get excited. They come onto a call and then I'm like, okay, great. Are you guys excited? Yeah. You don't have to do a lot. Just, show up. And then it's like crickets. And so it's like, if you don't charge for something, then people don't feel value in it. And all that I've been asking for is if you find the things that I'm sharing to be beneficial to your life, if you're reconnoitering and you're changing and you're finding something where you can change your life, it's like you don't have to do much. Like my material, share with me, your personal stories. Make yourself easily available. So I just want your email address, not because I want to spam you, but it's a way that if I'm up to something and you might want to be a part of it, I can in one space, I can connect with you rather than I'm on 4 different platforms and it's a pain in the ass. People are like, well, I DM'd you. And it's like, which platform, what did we talk about? And that takes up a lot of time. And so I don't ask for money. But there has to be some exchange of service. And it's something I had to learn, because like I didn't have a lot of money when I was going through my divorce, and I had a lot of equity in homes, but not a lot of cash. And so like I had this person that I wanted to have him spiritually counsel me, and he was also a huge real estate investor, and so it was like I recognize the value of the time that you're giving me, and I said I want to exchange something with you to make it worth your while. And oh my God, he found he had a tree farm that he had created on this 200-acre farm in Colorado. And I spent, I don't know, probably a lot of days, just pure full day, the most exhausting work I have ever possibly done in my life. And it's kind of a hard way to describe it, but he was pot trees. And what would end up happening is they were about 80 pounds, and the roots would grow from one pot into the next pot. So two of us had to pull up on either side of the pot, and you had to put your back into it. But the problem is that you didn't know if there were roots, you would just like lift and it would just be held down to the ground. And so oh God, that was hard work. And so it's like, you have to find value. When you find value, it's like, be conscious that you're giving something. Because if you're not giving something, you're still playing the performative love thing. You're playing performance. It's like, people always say in the spiritual realm, it should all be free. It should all be free. And it's like, what are you giving of yourself? There has to be some value. I'm okay with it not necessarily being money. Like, just have some kind of exchange where you recognize, okay, there's value being given. Give of yourself, serve in some way. Just even somebody could watch this video. It's going to be a long YouTube video, and you could go through and give me, the cut points. So tell me like where, I talked about this. People could, move to that section and listen to that part of the video. That would be very helpful, instead of me having to sit there for 3 hours, figuring it out myself. So there's all kinds of ways that we can do this. And I mean, I've already had really good feedback where people found something amazing in what I shared, and they come in and they're a cheerleader for a second, and then they just take whatever they got, and I don't hear from them again. And it's like, there's this sense of, I'm willing to give it for free, no cost. But it's the other lesson on the other side is, if you're still taking, and you believe in that, that was a spiritual thing and he's just sharing from his life. And it's like, it took a lot of expense, money, time to share these videos. And it's recognizing that genuine love can be practiced right here. That you don't just feel entitled that somebody, share something that's meaningful. It's like, give them love. Hit the like, share the video, comment, get engaged. My gosh, that is so helpful if you get engaged, especially if you have juxtaposition. You look at something that I post and you have a different idea of it, and you're just like, this wouldn't be helpful. And it's like, well, maybe it is helpful. Oftentimes it is. It's like, there's many different ways to look at it. So I'm almost there. Let's take a look around. I think I can almost turn off. This is what we look like now. You guys have come on this journey, and we're looking about almost 5 o'clock. And I might turn off my headlamp here pretty soon. How long is this one? 18 minutes. Gosh, this is going to be like almost the whole entire walk is on there. Yeah, I mean, even something like this, if you actually like what I'm sharing and this is helpful to you, you could watch this whole video and say, give me 3-minute reels, and you're just like, oh, this is great. And it's like, shoot, if you do any kind of video editing, I'd send you it, and you could put music to it. I've had people say that, and that's helpful. It's like, you might be bored and not have anything to do, and it's like, well, if this stuff is meaningful to you, I could send you the video, and you could make it into a reel. You put some music behind it, or you felt something was helpful. So this is where I'm going underneath. Let's see if you can hear this. This is power lines. I just think it's the weirdest thing that we have. Like, we can hear the electricity. There's so much electricity that we can literally hear it. I'm walking under some power lines. All right, I'm going to put this down a little more so you guys can... Isn't this getting beautiful? Just ridiculously beautiful. This walk, and I feel great. I've got this nice cool breeze, and yeah, definitely not as scary when you can see where you're going. That was a little freaky now that I think about it. And I'm excited to share with you my next adventure. I'll give you a little sneak peek. I bought a touring motorcycle. I've had a couple of motorcycles that I drove on the streets, and that was kind of my courageous thing to do, because I used to have a mantra that I wouldn't drive or ever ride a motorcycle, and I got one for a while. But I ended up getting one of those big touring BMWs. And I am looking at possibly doing a road trip. In fact, I'm thinking that I would like to make you guys part of it, because I would go out of my way. You're not out of my way, because I wouldn't have a trajectory. Just to have a general sense of where I'm going, and but I would love to meet you guys. I would love to have a chat, go sit in a park and talk. And if nothing else, I would just love to go and give you a hug, show you some love in person. I love that idea. I love the idea, even if it comes down to, just a freaking hug. We don't even have to talk at all. Just to have a cathartic hug. And whatever you're feeling, whatever I'm feeling, we let that express in that moment with no words. Like, I think that can move mountains faster than anything else. It's just human contact and, feeling each other. In fact, that was, there's one point in my relationship where I almost left, and I was really excited about it. I started dreaming away from her because she had moved out. She got drunk one night, and then was not happy that I was not happy with her drinking, and she felt all empowered that she finally, and so she moved out. And then we had one cathartic moment, and it happened when we were at an impasse. And I said, "Geez, can you just come and lay on my chest?" And it was the first time that we just had, and she just had a cathartic cry, and we had a moment, and then we stayed together, for another, I think, year and a half after that. And it's like, God, I just think, if I had and then it was the same thing. It was like that next year and a half, if I had just been like, let's not do circular conversations, let's just embrace each other when this is happening, I think we could have melted away a lot of the dynamic. In fact, that was one of the things that I expressed. I was like, let's stop just going around in circles. Let's just hug each other. And and they weren't into it at that point. It was like they couldn't see they were so much in their story that it was too important to them. So I can start to see the houses now. I'll be returning back to my place, and then I'm going to have to get ready to put on clothes. I have to wear clothes when I leave here. I didn't have to wear clothes, actually. I could have come out here naked. Maybe I will do a video where I come out here naked. I'm going to miss my water aerobics this morning with the group, so I might have to scamper to the pool later on and get her done. So I'm coming up to my gate where I re-entered the ranch. And see, here's the trails that have been made. And now I'm back on to where the trails have been made. And I will share with you the last piece. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the light now. Lots of settings on this. And this is the last piece of my journey that I'll share. And here we go. Walking up, you can see the first unit where people live in. They've got little park models, kind of like tiny houses and RVs, and then people can come and visit during the day. So this has all been carved out by. I knew some people that shared that there were some people that lived here for years. They were building these trails. That was their piece. So here's the gate we walk into. There's the sky. And kick the gate open. And no nudity. So now I can take off. I can turn my hat around normal. So I'm not wearing it. Anyway, I'm glad you guys came along with me. I'm going to go home, get hydrated, and prepare to put on some clothes to go help somebody rip a car apart. And yeah, the things I do these days, it's funny. I love you guys, and I'm glad for those that are along on this journey. All right, you guys get a sneak peek. This is the baby that I purchased last night. In fact, I was driving it back last night, and I'll tell you in just a second. So this is outside my comfort zone. I've never driven a motorcycle this big. In fact, it's funny because it's awkward. It's like an 900 pound motorcycle, and I'm awkward on it. Like if I'm slow or I'm falling over and shit. But as soon as I get driving, it's like riding a bike. The bike is handles so well, and I have no issues. But I'm going to be awkward for a while, and I am again like having to push against like people seeing me, even stopping at a stoplight. Like the bike rocks back and forth as I get slower, and my body's got to get used to it. My hands were killing me last night, except this one has cruise control, so it's such a great thing. But my body's got to get used to this big bike, and I'm so excited I got a helmet on the way, and I'll get some riding gear and maybe take a long, drive. Anyway, so if you've enjoyed this, if you want to make this easy, go to my website, paradigmb.org. I'm not making it a curated site, so you have organized information. That is something that we have to start to see as the problem. I've had people like, I don't know how to get to things, and this person isn't polished, doesn't have all of their stuff concise. And one of the things we have to realize is that AI and all of these things are organizing our life. We expect like the professional to have exactly the right beautiful website that brings us in, that has the hooks, that has all the information we're looking for, that makes it easy. And it's like, start looking at things. Let this, connection be something that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. That you're like, oh my gosh, I might have to take a minute to figure out what the hell's going on here. Because that's exactly what AI is doing. Everything is being curated, and people just go like, they see something that's not curated, and they're like, well, I can't, they need to have a professional website. And it's like everybody's got the narcissist gurus that are pulling people's attention. They're the ones that are curating, they're performing, and they're conditioning us to believe that that's the way that we have to look at life. And now with AI, it's so easy. Just I could be a guru, make myself into a guru, and present myself in a perfectly organized manner, but you would only get 10% of what I'm actually trying to share with you. That this is a messy ride, and allow your life to be a little messy. Look to juxtaposition outside of the organization of the world that you think is the right world. So I love everybody. Start there. Love everybody. But then also be allowed to call people assholes and let them be assholes too. And we don't have to engage with assholes. That's not what genuine love is. In fact, that's the most helpful thing we can do. If somebody's performing love and they're a taker, the best thing we can do is not give. Serve, 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 serve. And the right people will show up. And that's genuine love. When they show up and there's exchange, they recognize the value. That's all the game is of genuine love, is go out and serve, 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 serve. And then you find out like where the reciprocity is, the ones that actually recognize what is the gift that we've given: time, money, effort, vulnerability, whatever it takes. It's like that's what we start honing in on. And we're like, that's genuine love. It can start in these little tiny steps. Let's go. Let's ride this ontology, our beingness, out of the performative layer of love and into genuine love. Bye-bye for now.